What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bleep Bloop. This is the Headlines, a gaming news weekly show that you can check out every Sunday right here on YouTube, or you can go to my website, bleepblooppod.com, where you can check the video out right there. Also, check out a lot of the great content I have on there. And if you like to listen to podcasts, then definitely subscribe to my podcast, the Bleep Bloop Podcast, a gaming podcast where I talk about those water cooler conversations. Don't cover news and reviews, more so what do gamers think about and what are their thoughts on those things. All right, that's every Monday on all podcast platforms. So without further delay, let's go. All right, so this first story comes to us from IGN. Hades 2 to hit early access in spring 2024. This is by Christina Alexander. Hades 2 will be released in early access next spring. Supergiant announced in a blog post that the sequel to the award-winning 2020 indie roguelite dungeon crawler will be released in early access exclusively on Steam and Epic Games stores in Q2 of 2024, so sometime between next April and June. The anticipated sequel released its first trailer during its reveal announcement at last year's Game Awards and in its blog post. Supergiant anticipated responses along the lines of, quote, "The game looked pretty far along in the first trailer." Quote, "The reason for the wait is Hades 2 will have at least as much content from day one in early access as the original game did back when it launched in early access on Steam," Supergiant said. Quote, "And even though early access inherently means a game is not yet complete, we still want to do everything we can to make sure Hades 2 is worth your while as soon as you can play it in any capacity." Hades 2 getting ready to drop second quarter next year. I know Hades 1, when it dropped, it was met with a lot of fame, or a lot of acclaim. A lot of people enjoyed it. The game industry rated it up there. And if I'm not mistaken, at the Game Awards, it was a potential runner in the Game of the Year. I don't believe it won, but it definitely did get a lot of awards and a lot of high reviews. I played it myself. A very, very good game. One that anybody should dive into. So Hades 2, looking forward to that when it comes out. And of course, more information as it develops and as we get closer to the release. This next story is from GameSpot, written by Luis Joshua Gutierrez. Helldivers 2 release date announced for next February. During Sony's State of Play, Arrowhead Game Studio CEO and creative director Jonan Pilestead revealed a deep dive into what players can expect in its upcoming shooter, Helldivers 2, as well as a release date of February 8, 2024. The video opens with a player selecting a menu called the Galactic War, followed by picking what missions they want to play. Once the mission is picked, their characters enter their hell pods, and the second they touch the ground, they are immediately greeted by various bugs attacking them. The trailer then shows off how different mechanics work, such as spawning back in and helping team members reload, and how heavy weapons work. The trailer ends with the announcement that Helldivers will be coming to PlayStation 5 and PC on February 8, 2024, with pre-orders available on September 22nd. Now, I wasn't too aware of this game until I saw the trailer, and I really was intrigued by the gameplay. I'm always looking for those new games that can really get me tied in to multiplayer. I've usually been a solo campaign type of person, but I'm always trying to find a game that will get me tied in back into multiplayer. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the last multiplayer I played was Black Ops. So, and I'm talking about OG Black Ops. So this really looks interesting. I know it was announced earlier at the PlayStation Showcase earlier on in the year, and like I said, I didn't really watch the trailer until I saw this State of Play. I saw the trailer, really liked what I saw, so looking forward to this as it gets closer. Hopefully it'll garner enough interest from me to want to pick up the sticks and play. This next story is from PC Gamer, and this was written by Rick Lane. Creator of the Wolf Among Us noir fantasy universe declares it's now in the public domain. Bill Willingham, creator of the Fables universe, which serves as the setting for Telltale's fondly remembered adventure game, The Wolf Among Us, has placed the property in the public domain. The announcement was made in an extensive post on Willingham's Substack, which opens, quote, "As of now, 15 September 2023, the comic book property called Fables, including all related Fables spin-offs and characters, is now in the public domain. It's done, and as most experts would tell you, once it's done, it cannot be undone." Willingham's reason for this unusual move are a myriad. He explains that that his, quote, thoughts on how to reform the trademark and copyright laws in the United States have undergone something of a radical transformation, and says the current system is, quote, a mishmash of unethical backroom deals to keep trademarks and copyrights in the hands of large corporations. The primary reason, however, seems to be a long-standing dissatisfaction in his relationship with DC Comics, both in how the company has handled the Fables property and how it has interpreted Willingham's own contract. Quote, when I first signed my creator-owned publishing contract with DC Comics, the company was run by honest men and women of integrity, he writes. According to Willingham, these people have since, quote, left or been fired and replaced by, quote, strangers of no measurable integrity who now choose to interpret every facet of our contract in ways that only benefit DC Comics. So bottom line, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because although the Fables universe has been put into the public domain, it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. If we get to a point where The Wolf Among Us gets released, The Wolf Among Us 2 gets released and it does well, how does that shape anything else going forward with the Wolf Among Us series? Is there something specific to where they can continue on? Do they have to come up with something new? Will we only see Wolf Among Us 1 and Wolf Among Us 2? Does this affect the Wolf Among Us 2 release? I don't know. It's just going to be very interesting to see what else comes out of this. I really enjoyed the Wolf Among Us. I played it. Had a lot of fun with it, playing The Expanse currently, although that's on hold because I might play another game from Telltale that really has me interested. So it's just going to be interesting to see what happens, but I like that the original creator of this universe decided to put this into the public domain and let other people reimagine or retell those stories in their own unique way. So more to follow if it does come out. This next story is from Games Radar, and this is from Hiron Cryer. GTA 5 turns 10 this weekend, and GTA 6 fans have high expectations for a reveal. GTA 5 fans are setting themselves up for almost inevitable disappointment by hoping for a GTA 6 announcement this coming Sunday, so at the time of this video release. This Sunday, September 17th, somehow marks 10 years since GTA 5 first stormed onto the scene. Rockstar announced earlier today that GTA Online would be getting a celebratory weapons and outfits themed around GTA 5 to ring in its 10th year. But all fans really want is the sweet release of finally seeing something of GTA 6. Quote, celebrate 10 years by announcing GTA 6, reads one particularly demanding tweet underneath Rockstar's announcement. Quote, please tell me we're getting a GTA 6 trailer on Sunday, adds another Twitter user, X, alongside another chiming in with, quote, just give us GTA 6 news already, bruh. There's a horde of people getting their hopes up for a GTA 6 reveal at the end of the week. Just to help temper those expectations, we're almost certainly not getting a GTA 6 reveal this Sunday, and I think everyone sort of knows that even if they don't want to admit it. The only time a major company like Rockstar makes an announcement on the weekend is if it's part of a showcase like E3, and I'm pretty sure that's not happening this weekend. They did, however, announce previously that they were in the works of early development of Red Dead Redemption 3. So, what I would think is that most likely we're not getting that GTA 6 sneak peek announcement, any of that. But as we draw closer to the Game Awards, I would venture to say that that is probably going to be the big reveal. Because when you just look at everything that released this year, that is probably going to be the game the most anticipated that people want to see something from. Even if it's a sneak peek, even if it's an actual full-length trailer, maybe they'll have a whole spread about it. But I don't think we're going to see anything prior to that. And to be perfectly honest, there's part of me that don't think we're even going to see it at the Game Awards. At the Game Awards, we do see a lot of trailers for games, and we did see Cyberpunk announced there. So I just would venture to say that it could potentially happen. I don't know if it will. But what I do know as a good sign is for Rockstar to kind of come out and talk about that they're in early development for Red Dead Redemption 3, it is going to come at some point down the road. That is a good sign to me that GTA 6 is they're going to start rolling out the marketing campaign for it. So maybe it don't come out in 2024, but they'll probably do the marketing run up for 2024 for a release in 2025. Maybe that's kind of what I would potentially assume, but we'll see. You never can tell. I mean, I think Rockstar is one of those companies that they just kind of keep it low key. They just kind of drop something on you, bam, it comes out, and then that's the end of it, right? So, but I know once they do start pushing stuff out, or once you start seeing a lot of rumors, especially buzzing around the gaming industry, I would venture to say that we're getting close. So more to follow on this one. This next story is from VGC. This is written by Chris Gouillon. Immortals of Aveum developer Ascendant Studios has laid off nearly half of its staff. CEO Brett Robbins says it was, quote, a painfully difficult but necessary decision. Nearly half of the development team behind the EA-published Immortals of Aveum has been laid off. Ascendant Studios' Brett Robbins announced the layoffs on Twitter, calling the decision, quote, painfully difficult but necessary. Quote, today we are heartbroken as we part ways with friends and colleagues at Ascendant Studios, about 45% of our team, Robbins' statement reads. Quote, this was a painfully difficult but necessary decision that was not made lightly. Nevertheless, we have to make this adjustment now that Immortals of Aveum has shipped. Quote, we are supporting those affected in every way we can, including comprehensive severance packages and job placement assistance, as well as supportive services for those who remain. Robbins added, quote, I am so proud of what our independent development team has accomplished with Immortals of Aveum. Together, we've created a new AAA studio, a new IP on new technology during an era of our industry when that is exceedingly rare. It doesn't really go on to say that it was anything to do with, the output or the sales or the score or anything like that. And just from what I've observed as somebody that just kind of pays attention to when games release and when, studios let go of people, I think this is kind of common practice when you talk development of games. I think like when you see bigger titles, you see a lot of people get plussed up in the studio for the development process. Then once the release happens, they start to scale down, and a lot of those people, they get let go, and they go on to work on other things. If some of these numbers were people that were contracted, then it would make sense. The contract ends, and you go find work elsewhere. But if these were like people that were tenured workers with the studio and they got left off, then I would think that it maybe does have something to do in relation to sales. But I don't know any of that, so that's all speculative, so I don't want to go out on a limb on that. But what I would just say is, hopefully that those people that did get a chance to work on this do find work elsewhere and are able to continue, on their journey of contributing to making, great games. So it's unfortunate, but it's kind of like expected just from what I've seen. So hopefully these people, like I said, hopefully they find something else to continue their journey. The last story we have for this video is from Game Informer, and this is from Kyle Hilliard. Roblox is coming to PlayStation 4 next month. The hugely popular online game is finally coming to the PlayStation platform. The game has been able to find a huge audience on PC and mobile platforms, and it has also been available on Xbox consoles for some time, but this is the first time it will be available on a Sony platform. The game is coming to PlayStation 4, not PlayStation 5 notably, will feature full cross-platform play and releases October 10th. Roblox. I know my son enjoys playing Roblox. I know that there are a lot of creations that people have worked on and other people have gotten to experience within the Roblox community. I know my son, he loves Sonic and he plays Sonic games, but when he jumped into Roblox, there was a creator that essentially created a whole Roblox world that my son enjoys, dives into, and he even watches a Roblox content creator that focuses on Sonic specific content for the game that he plays. So I think that's just really cool. I think that it's great that it's moving over to PlayStation as well, because now you have different mediums, different platforms that you can experience this game on. And it'll be interesting to see what people do, how they experience other creators' worlds, other creators' ideas and visions and creations that they've that they've invested time in on this game. So creating games within games, right? So anyways, I think that's kind of cool, and it'll be interesting to see what my son gets his hands on. So those are the headlines for this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Like always, you can check out the website, bleepbloop.com. You can also check the podcast out every Monday, a new episode on all podcast platforms. Go to the website, though, tons of great content. Like, subscribe, click that notification bell here on the YouTube. Leave some comments, some feedback, what you thought about the stories, some more stuff you thought was interesting, as well as questions that you might want me to ask, and maybe I'll ask them on a new video. All right? Until the next time, like I always say, peace.